What is going on? Happy Wednesday to everyone. This isn't a real happy time for the 49er fans right now, so I'm not going to be clever or try to think of something cool to say to open up the show. We're just going to get right into this thing with Raj. And Raj, man, I don't know. There was a lot of talk today that, Brandon Ayuk could be practicing, and it looked like things were going in a better direction. At least that's how they made it sound. Well, he didn't show up to practice today. And John Lynch doesn't seem too happy. So all is not well in 49er land. Go wherever you want to go with this. All I know is that, I've tried to stay away from the gloom and doom and the doomsday stuff because, football is still football and you still got to play games. But the vibe going into this season is even different than 2020. It's like all sorts of negative energy, all sorts of like storylines that have nothing to do with actually playing on the field. So do what you want with that.
Yeah, hello, Aaron. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Good. Welcome to the show. It's kind of weird. Everybody says, Super Bowl hangover, blah 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 blah. You're gonna hear all that, and right now the 49ers getting off to a weird start this season. I'm not gonna say a rocky start or a bad start. I mean, they haven't played a game yet, but just a weird vibe. The drama always plays centerfold for 49ers, but this year it's so weird, man. Like, I know we had the Brandon Ayuk contract situation. It's still looming. And then Trent Williams situation. Today was a weird day. I actually got pretty irritated with this whole situation. Because, early reports were, he's going to practice. It's the expectation. We're getting ready for the Jets. You're on the roster. You're under your fifth-year option. You're a contracted player. Everybody expects him to practice. People were reporting it. Mike Garafolo, who's been tuned in and dialed in on this situation from the start, probably out of all the big media, reporters. And then, Greg Papa, he reported on KMBR, and everybody followed suit. I posted it. Everybody's like, okay. John Lynch, he says, yeah, we expect him to practice. That's the expectation. Kyle Shanahan is, I don't know, I've been worried about the roster. I've been making my roster. I've been doing my roster. I hope he practices, right? And I'm sitting there getting all the updates. I'm sitting there going, I hope he practices too. Everybody's been busy, trying to keep up with the 53-man roster. And then you got this guy, Brandon Ayuk, who was supposed to practice. And John Lynch today, like you said, he sounded so – this is the first time I've heard John Lynch in a while just seem pissed. Like, I think now he's probably just like, look, dude, you're on your fifth-year option. Just you got to play at some time. That's what he said. He says at some point you got to play football. Go out there. Practice, man. Do you want to be here or not? We've given you every opportunity. Given you a contract. You don't like it? We asked – you said you wanted to trade. We gave you Team A, Team B, Team C. And just like Steve Young said the other day, like, yo, figure it out, bro. This is less than 2 weeks of the season. And then so today, supposed to practice, he ghosted him. He didn't show up. Like, this is worse than I don't know. It was crazy today. Crazy.
It's worse than Manti Te'o's takes. And the fact that he had a fake girlfriend, it's worse than that.
It's worse than getting catfish.
Screw Manti Te'o. So I am not a 49ers apologist or a 49ers nut hugger where everything is all great all the time. And I'm always like, yay, 49ers. But they've done everything in their power.
Julius Callaway says, did I... Uh-oh, what happened? Internet. The assumption was he was supposed to practice. That's the expectation. You're a contracted player.
I'm having a little bit of glitch over here. Great. God damn it. Be patient, people. Whose side is it? Is it me or his? Crap.
We got some technical difficulties.
Are you back?
Here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it's Raj's side. Okay. It's definitely not mine. Okay.
I don't know what's going on. We got some technical difficulties.
Yeah, we got some technical difficulties. Raj, if you can hear me, I guess it's on your side. I don't know if you need to like back out and come back in or something. This sucks. Right in the meat of the show. So if you guys can hear me, all I'll say is that I'm not a pro all things great 49ers guy all the time. I don't sit there and sing the praises of this franchise. I'm actually pretty critical, but they've done everything they could to get this guy what he wants, whether it's uh, a trade to another team or a contract that he thinks is, I guess, fair. And he's gotten either. He's gotten both and has not signed off on either. So I'm not blaming the 49ers on that one at all. Raj is going to restart. Raj's internet is hating us right now. I don't know. What you guys think? Like, whose at fault at this one? Like, is it the 49ers at fault or of the night? Because I feel like the Niners are pretty fair. They sign their guys. They try to keep all their guys. And the Wi-Fi left the chat literally. That's hilarious. Whose side are you blaming? Papa J. Kyle Shanahan blocked Raj because he didn't like the way he was talking. No, I think they appreciate what we're talking about right now. Because let's be honest here. The 49ers, for the most part, have done everything that Brandon Ayuk's side has asked to try to get a fair deal, whether it's here or at another team. And I mean, we're getting to the point where we're in the thralls of preparing for week 1, and he's not on the team, and neither is Trent Williams. So this is one of those things that I feel like, coming off of another Super Bowl loss, that this is going to be another obstacle to me that is going to make it even more difficult to win a Super Bowl. So if the Niners were to do it this year out of all years, I think it would be even more dramatic and more spectacular because of everything that's going against them. You even got guys like Manti Te'o coming out and saying that the 49ers just have a different look in their eye and they don't seem like they have the energy or the emotional capacity this year. Like there's just something missing. So I don't know, man. The way I see it is that once those guys get signed, everything is back to business as usual. But if you're going to say that things have been weird this offseason and that they've been, definitely trending in the wrong direction, I would agree with you on that one. So let's see if he comes back soon. Let's go to the board. He's still got people watching him, even though he's not on screen right now. That is a faithful following right there. Terradome says the 49ers should have been earlier to the table, but it is what it is. Yeah, this whole way that they go about doing contracts is pretty pathetic. Because they wait and other teams, make their moves, and then that puts more pressure on the 49ers to try to match whatever other teams are doing. Raj is still trying to make his way back. He doesn't know what happened. Papa J says, when it comes down to it, nobody's fault. It's just the circumstances of the business. Yeah, there's that part too. There's definitely that part too. But it at this point in the off season, we're preparing for week 1. All that stuff should have been taken care of. So it's to me, it's more BA side right now than anything. If you ask me, I just think BA side is the one that's holding things up. I think the 49ers have been pretty fair, like I said, and given him a ton of options to either stay with the 49ers or resign. They even were willing to come back to the table and increase their offer, and that still hasn't been good enough. They've offered him, trades to the Rams to the Browns and, other teams, and he's turned those down too. So at this point, I think it's more on his side. It is part of the business. It is part of negotiating, but I don't think that the 49ers at this point are in the wrong on why they feel the way that they do. I'm still in the middle of the screen here. Let's see if we can get Raj back in here. Hold on 1 second. Should I just get rid of that? There we go. Yep. We're just waiting on Raj here. 49er Media says 49ers were trying to get this done before the draft and things changed since other guys were getting paid a wide receiver. Yeah, but they always wait too long. The 49ers way of doing things is they seem to get right up against the butt of training camp before they decide to do stuff. And so they were going pretty much par for the course. But that's kind of dangerous to do when you got more people, guys within the same position group getting paid in the same offseason. The Niners get a little too comfortable in the way that they really the way that they do their business when it comes to contracts. And it is fair to say that they deserve it and they play well and they've been good for a bunch of years over the last however many that they've been involved in the playoffs or the NFC Championship game, but doesn't take away from the fact that it's distracting and it doesn't leave a good taste in our mouth coming up to the butt of a week one, which is 12 days away. So let's see if Raj is on his way back, guys. Hold on 1 second. I'm just talking in circles, by the way. So Raj is chatting with BA. It's getting done right now. Wouldn't that be something? What if he was getting just influx with calls and text and stuff, and that's why he got pulled? That would be hilarious. I mean, he is pretty well known in 49er land, guys. He's got a ton of subs on here, and he's got a good amount of new sponsors on Instagram. So Raj is doing his thing. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers are trying to get a hold of him. How are things going on with me outside of 49er stuff? A lot of stuff up in the air right now. I'd have to DM you on Twitter and let you know exactly what I'm talking about because I don't want to spill my personal life here on YouTube. Not that anybody cares anyways, but I'm alive. I'm breathing. I have internet. I ate dinner tonight. I have a bed behind me to sleep in, so things are okay. Things are okay. I could be worse. It could be worse. Just waiting on Raj still. He says he's got internet and he doesn't know why it dropped. So as soon as Raj pops in here, we'll split the screen back up and keep talking. Look, if 30 million is true, BA has mental issues. No doubt Tyreek Hill will just sign 3 years, 30 million like that. Yeah, what's funny too is as much as I love Brandon Ayuk as a player, there's levels to this, you know what I mean? There's levels to like the level of like top receiver, and then there's like that second tier. I think he's personally in that second tier. His agent is trying to tell him that he's in a different tier, which I do not agree with. There's nothing that Brandon Ayuk does game wise that can't be replicated by somebody else. He's really good, and I don't want to sound like sacrilegious talking like that, but like, what can he do? What can he do that other receivers can't do? He gets open, he catches the ball. He's a good route runner. There's Justin Jefferson is a better player, Devontae Adams is a better player. I think Tyreek Hill is in a realm above him. He's got that elite speed, and he can get away from anybody if they don't cover him right. So I don't know, man. The way I look at it is that he should have taken the offer that the 49ers offered recently, when they sat back down and convened, but I guess he had something wrong in one of the years and wanted to renegotiate in one of the final years, and that pulled him back away from the table. So I really don't know what's going on. Red Eye, what the fuck cares about the cow patties? Who's talking about the Cowboys? Somebody talking about the Cowboys in here? What kind of red receiver does he think he's in? He ain't Jerry. I 100% agree on that one. Hold up. You're saying Ayuk isn't a top 5 wide receiver? No, I think he's top 10. I would say he's closer to like 7 or 8. If you have to rank him. I'm sorry. That's just my personal opinion. And I don't know if that's stupid on my part. Maybe I'm not bitter about him not wanting to resign either. That has nothing to do with it. So I just don't think he's in that tier. I think he's a tier below that. So I'm waiting for Raj to join. What's going on, David McNiner? Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody who's in here. Thanks for all the people that are here for Raj, even though he's not here. I'm trying to get him back in the fold. Hold on 1 second. Raj is holding out. Everyone's worst nightmare. Great name. Hopefully the Trent Williams deal gets done. Yeah, I worry about more than that, even more than the IU, because we have some players at wide receiver, Cowing, Debo. Hopefully Ricky Parasol. Hopefully something happens with Sticky Ricky, because I think he could be special too. It's kind of funny that he had no injuries in college and now all of a sudden he makes it to the 49ers and he hasn't been healthy all offseason. And then we find out about this shoulder issue that he's having. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Raj should be fined $40K. He might have that money. he might actually have that amount of money. I don't know. Yep. I'm just going to wait a little bit more here, guys. Gun to my head, give me all-time great left tackle over solid wide receiver any day of the week. Yeah, like Trent is game changer. Trent is a game-changing wide receiver, right? He is top of his profession. You can't say that about BY or BA. You can't say that about him. Is he talented? Yes. But do teams game plan to take him away? No. Christian McCaffrey is the type of guy that teams game plan to take away, right? Because he can do it all. He can block, he can catch, he can run. So Trent Williams, to me, is the most important player that is not on this team at the moment. I would personally get his contract done first. And now we have Raj back in the building.
What happened?
I don't know. I've been trying to talk. I haven't done a stream alone in a long time like you, so I'm really bad at this. But mostly everybody that came here for you is still watching.
You know what? I think people are saying that I'm holding out.
You said you're holding out.
You know what? I had a conversation with Brandon Ayuk, and he told me I should hold out. It just didn't feel right. I needed to come back. I'm not. That's not me. No, can't do it. They were gonna find me. They were gonna find me $40K for me. Yeah, I don't make $40K in a day. Like that's a lot of money.
I thought you made a good amount of money. You have $40K.
I can't take a $40K fine right now.
I wanted to ask you, okay, because I've been babbling about Brandon Ayuk. Who's more important? Someone in the comments said that, or it's Peter Parker. He said, "Gun to my head, give me an all-time great left tackle over a solid wide receiver." I say yes. I don't think BA is the top of his profession. Trent Williams is. BA is the top. I think he's a top 7, top 10. I do not think he's top 5. And he wants like top 2 money. To me, Trent Williams is the most important player that is not here right now that needs to be here. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your take?
Yeah, Trent Williams is the most important player on the 49ers that they don't have on the 49ers roster. He's probably, you can arguably say that he's the most important player on the team, right? You take away Trent Williams from this offensive line. Who the heck is going to block Brock Purdy on that left side? Jalen Moore? Stop it. Now, not only that, he helps Brock Purdy do what he has to do, right? It's stay upright. He helps protect him so he doesn't get scuffed up and dirty and injured. And we've seen injuries to quarterbacks. we want Brock Purdy to be the franchise quarterback, he needs to stay upright. Now, the thing is, Trent's got maybe 2 years left on him. He's getting up there, but he's still among the top 3, 4 offensive linemen, left tackles specifically. He's been one of the greatest of all time. Now, he's 36. A lot of people are going to say, does he really deserve to be paid like Penny Sewell and all those guys? You can argue, yes. I mean, I get it, the age, but he's still so good at that age, at 36. He's so good. And without him, this offensive line is not good. And not just Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey in this run game. They're not going to have the same holes. Like, as good as Christian McCaffrey is, he needs an offensive line to part the Red Sea like, Trent Williams does. And, Aaron Banks is not going to be as good on the left side with Jalen Moore. We know Dominic Pooney's good, but he's on the opposite side, and he's going to have his hands full with Colton McKivitz right next to him in his gun holster. So Trent Williams is important. And I'm not saying Brandon Ayuk is not important, but to answer the question, Trent Williams, to me, is more important. Wide receivers are dime a dozen. There's good ones, and they're worth their money. Like, I would love to have a Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb. They're all good. But wide receivers usually don't win you a Super Bowl. They can get you far. They're a big part of your offense. It's important for Brandon Ayuk or not just Brandon Ayuk. It's important for Brock Purdy to have a good wide receiver because he needs that, that chemistry. He needs that go-to guy, that X receiver, throw it deep. The 49ers have good receivers, but I don't know if Ricky Pearsall could come in and just replace Brandon Ayuk, which a lot of people say. The guy can't even get to the season healthy right now. He's on bubble wrap. So at the end of the day, Brandon Ayuk, yes, he's important. You can't just replace him with the geek on the street. Like, if they go get somebody average, he's not going to be able to replace Brandon Ayuk. He did put up good numbers. He put up very efficient numbers, one of the top 10 in, receptions or yards and all that stuff and efficiency. He didn't even lead. He's 31st in targets. So he puts up good stats. Brock Purdy and him have good, connection. He's a good blocker, which is very important. That goes underrated. But if I had to choose between the two of them, I'm taking Trent Williams because he's going to protect your quarterback and he's going to help open it up for your offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. It's tough. They're both needed, but the bigger need is Trent Williams because if you saw that offensive line during the preseason and you tell me this offensive line is going to take you to the Super Bowl, you're just lying to yourself. You're just a Homer fan. Like, I love this team with all my heart, Aaron, but I can tell you right now, Trent Williams, without him on this roster, they're not making it to the Super Bowl.
I said this right before you were about to leave, or right before your connection dropped. The 49ers have been pretty fair to a lot of their players in giving them fair contracts. Mm-hmm. Yes, the negotiations are tough. I'm not a 49er like, oh, I love them so much. They can't do any wrong. But they pay their players. They reward their players. So to me, this is more on the Brandon Ayuk side of things than it is on the 49ers side of things, personally. People are going to say, oh, you're just a big homer. No, I'm not really. You should have saw me during 2017, 2016. You would have thought I was like a Seattle Seahawks fan the way I used to trash my team. So don't give me that. To me, Trent is one of one. He is irreplaceable on this team. To me, Brandon Ayuk, you trade him for McLaurin and you swap him, the Niners don't miss a beat. That's me personally.
I agree.
What can't McLaurin do that Brandon Ayuk does on this team? You trade him to the Commanders straight up for a wide receiver, the Niners offense looks no different. Trent Williams affects our most important offensive player, which is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, nobody game plans to take away Brandon Ayuk. People game plan to take away Christian McCaffrey because he's that important. He blocks, he catches, and he runs. He does it all.
He does it all.
He is, when I say one of one, I mean like irreplaceable. Like Jerry Rice in his prime on the Niners trying to reach a Super Bowl in those years where it's not happening, Mike Sherrard goes down or, Ronaldo Skeets Nehemiah back in the day, these like kind of, nobody cared, There's players that if you lose them, it's over with. You're not going.
I will say this. So again, Brandon Ayuk, if he went down, it would be it would be pretty hard to replace him. But the 49ers do have a lot of wide receivers, and I think they can get away with him they've won games without him before, right? They've won games without him. Their offense still clicked. You got Debo, you got Kittle, you got other guys. And Jacob Cowan can step up, whatever. But when they have not had Trent Williams in that roster, it's pretty bleak. Like, you can see the run game takes a hit. They don't score as much. Quarterbacks running for their life. But I will say this. I agree with what you say. Like Terry McLaurin's a guy you can bring in, and he might be able to get some good, stats with the team. I think he'd be able to kind of keep this team going. He'd be a good 2-year plan. He's getting up there. He's still in his prime. He's kind of dwindling, but I think Terry McLaurin still has 2 really good years left in him. So that would have been nice if the 49ers could have got a guy like Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper. The problem was the 49ers had these deals done, and then Brandon Ayuk says, "No, that's not what I want." It's like, what do you want? So he kind of screwed the team in the sense of, okay, if you didn't really want to be here, we're going to trade you, and here we go. And then when push came to shove, when his backpack was on him and the door was open for him to go to school, to go to college, he said, "Oh, you know what? I'm staying home and living with my parents." Like that's what happened, and it's unfortunate because they had a plan to help the Niners say, "Okay, we're going to get rid of him and we'll get some equal or some good compensation. Maybe not as equal as Ayuk. He probably would have flourished on one of those teams and put up amazing stats. It would have been great for him. But he wanted to play for a winner, so he wanted both, the best of both worlds. He wanted the lap of luxury. Go to a winning team, get paid top receiver, and be a top target. Like you can't have you're gonna have to take at least one of those as an L, Brandon. Like that's what it is. And again, Trent Williams, I know he's asking for a lot of money to be towards the top. He's had, you know, guaranteed money. He's had contracts extensions. This is the difference. Brandon Ayuk's been in no contracts extensions before this. And this is his first one. He's a rookie when it comes to contract extensions. Trent Williams has been in numerous. So for him, he knows he's going to milk out his greatness, his career one more time before he calls it a career, before he hangs it up, Aaron. He's got one more extension in him, and this is it where he can milk it for as much money, and that's what he wants. He wants guaranteed money. So for Trent, on him, it's a smart tactic saying, "Hey, I don't have to play him. I just want more money because this is the last time I'm ever going to get a contract extension from the NFL. I want as much as I can get out of this, career I've had." For Brandon Ayuk, it's his first time, so you can see the differences. Where Trent's like, "All right, cool, I'm not gonna play. Call me when we figured it out. Here's my agent's number." Brandon Ayuk's like all over the place. He's like, "I do want to play for the Niners, but I don't want to do this. I don't want to practice, but I should practice. But then I'll show up here. But then you can trade me. Oh wait, no, I don't want to go there." He doesn't know what he wants because this is the first time he's ever had to go through this.
I think he looked at the Devontae Adams situation and was like, wow, when you prioritize only money and you go to a team that doesn't have a quarterback or a good head coach, you have no chance to do anything. I mean, what do you want, bro? Do you want to win? You want to make money? I understand in the NFL, you have a finite amount of years to play and your career can be over at any time and you want to make generational wealth. I get that part. But the Niners have given you everything on the table. They've given you trades. They've given you an extension. They've gotten back to the table with you and tried to up their offer. Still wasn't good enough. You wanted something in your last year to be renegotiated. I'm like, what do you want, bro? Like, do you want to be here? Do you want to be a 49er? Because I hate to tell you, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Unless you're going to Kansas City to play with Patrick Mahomes, which I would hate. That's about it. Or Buffalo, maybe. With Jared, did I call him Jared Allen?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Oh, man. Sorry, Bills fans. I just don't get it anymore. I think the 49ers have a right to be pissed off. Like I said, I'm not a homer or a person that's just like, yay, about everything Niners, but they've done what they've had to do, and they've tried to be professional about it.
They've done everything they could. They're like, what else do you want? We offered you money. Okay, maybe it wasn't the greatest offer, but we offered you. You didn't want it, so we kind of went back to the drawing board. We talked, still didn't want it. Okay, you said trade you, so we offered you to several teams, and you didn't want any one of those offers. So it's kind of like, what do we do? Like, if I'm the front office, I'd be like, dude, what do we do? We've tried everything. We can't pay you $30 million or 32. Well, I don't know, whatever you want. Like, they can't pay him CeeDee Lamb money. They got to pay Trent Williams also next year. Brock Purdy, like.
Deommodore Lenoir's money's coming up next year.
The 49ers pay a lot of their players great money. Like, that's always fair. You said it. The thing about the 49ers is they usually break the market. They're usually the guys that set the market. They're not going to do it again. This is the one time where they can't. Like Brandon Ayuk, you got to agree to disagree sometimes. You're still going to get a boatload of money, just maybe not CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, which you probably don't need, because now this is where I'm at with this whole situation. Okay, let's say Brandon Ayuk tomorrow somehow he maybe he wakes up in a good mood and says, you know what? sign the contract today. We're gonna do it." And he signs it. Whatever he gets paid, at this point, I don't care what he gets. I'm not gonna mock it. I'm not gonna say, "Oh my God, that's too much," or "Oh, that's under." Whatever he gets paid, Aaron. Now, when he plays, he better have the greatest season of all time for 49ers receiver. Like, he needs to go out there and just don't complain, get the ball, score touchdowns. Don't like you. He's putting himself in a tough position with the fan base and in just in the media in general. Because if he has
Fans
a
will
bad
turn
game,
on you, and so will the media.
if he has a bad game, if he gets hurt, if something happens to him,
Oh God, not again. No. No. Once again, we start talking bad about the 49ers and they decide to take out Raj's internet. Damn it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm back again by myself. We lost like 20 people as soon as that happened, but that's okay. Let's talk about the fact that the 49ers said goodbye to both tight ends that they drafted. What was it, 2 years ago? And also cut Danny Gray. I don't know what is going on. I wanted to kind of transfer the conversation over to the 53. Now, I'm not breaking everything down, but I got some stuff that are some sticking points. The first thing I want to ask you about is the fact that the Niners cut Willis, tight end Willis, Latu, and Danny Gray all gone. 3 huge misses, according to me, as far as draft picks go. Are you surprised, or did you see the writing on the wall?
so Braden Willis came back to the practice squad.
Did he come back to? Okay,
yeah,
that's
he did.
right.
He came
You're right.
back to practice. So Braden Willis, I knew he'd probably come back to practice squad. He was a late round pick. He's a decent catcher, but he's not consistent and he can't block. You need to learn how to block if you're going to play tight end for the 49ers. Eric Saubert and Jake Tonges beat him out. Fair and simple. They beat him out. They played better than any other tight end other than George Kittle. Like, here, the thing is, tight end on the 49ers, George Kittle's up here. Everybody else is like way down here. It's
down.
A big drop off. It's a big drop off. But Tonges and Saubert were better than those other. So if they're here, if here's Kittle and here's Saubert and Tonges, everybody else is like, they're not, you can't even see him. Cameron Latu that was such a bad pick. 3rd round pick. Like, the 49ers should just skip the 3rd round. I mean, they've made a few picks here and there. There was a Fred Warner.
They had a left tackle.
I mean, here's the thing. Cameron Latu was a big reach. Everybody said it. And the fact that he was like getting praised because he was showing up to practice, he had 2 knee surgeries over the years. Over 1 year, really. He had 2 knee surgeries. He just hasn't been able to adapt and play, and he was inconsistent because he wasn't able to get to practice. This guy was a big reach, and now he's not even on the freaking. He didn't even make the practice squad. I wasn't surprised about it, Aaron, because I saw him up close and personal for 2 years at training camp. Seen him preseason. Just was not good. Again, injuries. He goes to the Browns practice squad. Good for him. Hopefully, fresh start. He's like a good size. He's just not good at it. Danny Gray was not surprised he didn't make this roster. Same thing, injuries. He had a preseason highlight a couple years ago where Trey Lance hits Danny Gray, Trey to Gray, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is the future of the Niners." And after that, both of those guys aren't even on the roster anymore. They both got hurt, unfortunately. They just never stepped up, played good enough. Danny Gray specifically couldn't block his way out of a paper bag. And the problem, as I stated, with the 49ers as a receiver, if you can't block with a blood nickel, you're not going to make this rush. Kyle Shanahan values blocking. And I remember last year when Debo was talking about the younger guys, what he's teaching them. I remember that there was a time in training camp, and I remember this video because he was saying how Ronnie Bell is such a good blocker, blah, 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 blah. And that's why he made the roster last year. That's why he made the roster this year, and that's why he got opportunities. Now this year, Ronnie Bell made the roster again because he blocked. The thing is, Danny Gray just couldn't figure that out. So, hold up, we got some Brandon Ayuk news coming up. The pipeline here. Let me. Sorry, we got some news coming up, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, no. As far as Danny Gray, I'm not surprised. I didn't think he was going to even make it back to the practice squad. I mean, if he did, I wouldn't have been surprised. But he's done. Sayonara. He posted on his Instagram story today a picture He deleted all his 49er related pictures, and on the story, he has a song. The song's called Philadelphia. Get out of here.
Okay. Ooh, I'm so scared.
Yeah.
You're not
Get
getting
out
the
of here.
rock in Philly. You're going to be a practice squad player over there too. So shut up.
Yeah.
Somebody in the
Yeah.
comments asked about if we talked about the Trent and Ayuk thing. We talked about it for about 35 minutes. We're just transitioning here while
Yeah.
Raj looks at his phone for breaking news. I hope something happens.
No, sorry. My phone's. I don't know why my system's been dropping. The first time, I don't know. The second time, my daughter was trying to FaceTime me, so I told her, I was like, I'm on a stream. I can't.
All right, here's the next little tidbit, little bite-sized chunk. Eli Mitchell to IR. Could this be the end of him? And I find it funny that we replace him with Isaac Guerendo, and now Guerendo's got another injury. So what do you think about that? What the hell? What's going on?
Oh my god, dude! I was. You can't help but laugh. Okay,
Really? Seriously?
Elijah Mitchell. He's probably played his last down as a fourth. I don't think he's come back. Season-ending injured reserve. Apparently, what happened was he re-aggravated his hamstring injury. Let me see. This re-aggravated the hamstring injury, and of course, they put him on the season-ending injured reserve list because a couple days ago he did return to practice. And today, Kyle was talking about how he will have season-ending surgery. Actually, so he aggravated the hamstring that he had, a week ago or so, and then on Monday, that's when he realized he's going to need surgery, and that's why he was placed on the injured reserve list. I can't believe it. That's done. He's done. It sucks for Elijah Mitchell. He's a very talented player. He was really good, just could never stay healthy, and now he's going to have season-ending surgery. This guy set the rookie rushing record for the 49ers a couple years ago, and now he's cooked out. I don't even know if he'll make the league after this. That's tough. And then Isaac Guerendo, who was a guy they drafted to probably replace Elijah Mitchell, looks like the return man. Tweaked his groin. He had a hamstring issue before. He's not trending in the right direction. So it's a little unfortunate that Guerendo's dealing with this. Hopefully he can avoid more injuries. But right now, he's off to a bad start. He's off to an Elijah Mitchell type start, and it's not a good sign. Yeah, that was bad. I was just like, are you kidding me?
Pretty insane. Now I'm going to transition over to defense. So the 49ers have a trying to gather my thoughts here. Talanoa Hufanga has returned, but it seems like the Niners want to bring him along slowly.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners have signed former Lions safety Tracy Walker. Does that to you indicate that he might start the season either on the PUP list or they just might have him inactive for a bit?
So with Hufanga, they're trying to be very careful. Lynch was talking about that, how they just don't want to rush him. Kyle Shanahan says that, you know what, he's back on individual drills, and this is kind of what they've been saying, that he's back for individual drills. They're going to slowly ramp him up. I actually had talked to a guy that works for his surgeon's office a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I'm not going to give you all his information because it's HIPAA, but he did tell me, which was news that is out now, I could tell you. So like a week or so ago, when all this was happening, remember that when he was supposed to go to his ortho visit on that week. So I got the reports. I work in physical therapy, so I know a lot of people, and they said that he was cleared for like individual drills. That's what the 49ers said. Kyle Shanahan said he's cleared for individual drills. It's got a way to go until they can go to team drills. So I think they're slowly taking that course. Hopefully he can play. I don't think he's going to play week one. I think he'll be inactive. And that's why I think they brought Tracy Walker. He was on the roster during the offseason and training camp and preseason and stuff. So they kept him. And if you saw the news update this morning about Tracy Walker, they brought him back to the roster with the assumption that he's going to actually be on the roster week one, the active roster. So my guess is, they always get to call up player the day before the game day. So they'll probably say, oh, Hufanga's inactive. We're going to call up Tracy Walker, and then they can revert somebody else to practice squad. That's how I think they're going to do it, and they'll manipulate the roster like that. So, yeah, I don't think Hufanga's playing week one. That's my guess.
I'm feeling the same thing.
I don't think he's going to get good enough in less than 2 weeks. I think he's getting close, but again, they want to be careful with him.
I feel like mid-season might be when we start to see him kind of returned, hopefully, to the form he was. We don't know. Knee injuries are always, I mean, it's not like it was in the 1980s and 90s where a knee injury pretty much spelled the end of your career. Now, doctors are amazing. They can repair everything, including elbows, like Brock Purdy. But anytime, I mean, he was never an explosive speed safety that could fly downfield. So you wonder. But I
Yeah.
just feel like he's young. He's still got a lot of. I miss his physicality. I miss his
Good
turnover
play.
creating ability. So
Turnovers, his instincts, his knack to get
yes,
to the ball, his nose for the ball. Yeah, we missed him last year in
he's
the
one of my
playoff.
favorite players, and it's unfortunate because say Jair Brown and Mustafa ball out this year, maybe he's not quite himself. Then he's just going to be expendable, or they can bring him
Mhm.
back on a smaller deal based on his inability, or not inability, but him being injured. So
Yeah, that's
it's kind
tough,
of good to
man.
have the depth, but at the same time, you don't want to test it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation because you're right. Like, if he's not up to par and his knee's not where it needs to be, they can say, "Hey, sayonara, buddy. You're not worth the money." We got Mustafa and Jair Brown, which is good for them because they invested on young players. But then if he's really good, then they're like, oh, who's expendable here? And then, or if he's like kind of okay, they could say, hey, we're not going to pay you as much, but we want to keep you as a veteran. So it's a big year for Hufanga. It's a contract year. He's coming off an injury. I don't think he expected to be hurt. Unfortunately, he is, and coming off a big ACL injury, he was probably thinking, hey, man, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to come off another big year after an All Pro my second year, and he was probably thinking he was going to get big time money. Now he doesn't even know if he's going to what we don't know what's going to happen with Hufanga, but the good news is he's getting healthy. He is back at practice doing individual drills. I'm excited. I want to shift the topic a little bit because there was a couple players obviously that didn't make the practice squad.
Yeah,
The
I was. I
49ers got
have
a
it. I have it here in my topics because I feel like you
so
might be going in that direction.
yeah, so the 49ers obviously just like every other team they got to cut their players, right? They got to cut their players, trim that fat down to 53. It's hard to make the 53-man roster. If you don't make it, if you clear waivers, maybe go to the practice squad, which is good because eventually through the season, there's injuries. You can be elevated. They develop you. They keep you around, and then maybe next year you'll be a starter on the team. That's how it
Right.
goes. Like there's a lot of people that have been on this 53-man roster that are now on the on the practice squad that become 53-man rosters. Chris Conley, et cetera, et cetera. There was a couple players that I saw them get rid of, and I was just like, oh wow, that's a big miss. So the first and foremost, the biggest one, Jared Kingston. They drafted
Yep.
this guy out of
Yep.
USC. He looked really good, right,
Yeah.
in the preseason. And you're thinking, okay, you need offensive lineman depth. You drafted him. He looked good. He played well. He practiced good. He's staying on the roster. They cut him. And of course, he was the first player that the 49ers was claimed off of waivers. He's the first one out of all the guys that got claimed from the 49ers that got claimed real quick from the Carolina Panthers. They had the highest waiver priority, snatched him up, and this guy now you don't have a good prospect. You could have at least kept him on the active roster. Maybe he didn't start, but you bench him and then he can be on your roster. They kept Nick Zakelj over this guy. That's not a good. That to me was
Why?
one. I was just like,
Yeah.
I
I
got a
saw the
theory.
Jared Kingston move, and I know they. Oh,
I
and
got a
then the fact.
theory.
Go ahead.
I got a theory. So there's three players that made this team, whether it would be practice squad or active roster, and they all have ties to the 49ers in terms of being buddies with someone on the roster, a big player on the roster, not just buddies with like a mediocre player, buddies with one of the best players. So there's a man by the name of Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, linebacker, special teamer. He's okay. Probably shouldn't make the roster. He made the roster. You know who he's best friends with? Fred Warner. You know who he trains with every offseason? Fred Warner. Okay. Trent Taylor. We all know he's George Kittle's best friend, his former roommate. They do everything together. Their
His
wives
ass.
take.
It's his asshole buddy, man.
That's his
They're like
buddy, man.
BFFs.
They're BFFs. Trent Taylor made the roster on the practice squad. Okay, there was never a doubt. I thought he might actually make
Oh,
it.
I
So
had no. I
that's
didn't
two.
think so.
That's two. He made the practice squad. Now the third one is all telling. There's a man by the name of Nick Zakelj, who I mentioned, who's on this roster. He was a former 6th-round pick. To me, he's never really done much for the 49ers. To me, it's just like, okay, he's depth. Is he a good center? He's had his moments. I think he's not as good as Drake Nugent, who got placed on the practice squad. Guess who he's good friends with and actually a roommate with? Brock Purdy, your starting quarterback. Nick Zakelj is his good friend on the roster. So all three of those guys made the team. They have three best friends on the roster that are really good players, star players. and a guy like Jared Kingston gets left in the sun, he got picked up by Carolina. He's going to be a starter for them.
Yeah, I think I find it funny too that Cody Schrader got picked up by the Rams.
Sean McVay. He likes that white boy aura.
And yeah, he likes that whitey aura. And the fact that like right as that happens, Garendo has some boo boo, and so now they don't even have a guy that they don't even have running back on the practice squad that they can go to. Sometimes sometimes the Niners make it too easy to pick on them.
They'll probably add a running back to the practice.
Samuel Womack, not surprised.
Yeah, he went to the Colts.
Jalen Graham. I feel like with Bethune being drafted, I felt like either him or Winters.
But the thing is, they kept Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles over Jalen Graham, who I think is a good player. He may not have played,
right?
But you keep this roster. You want to keep him, build him for the future, because he could be a really great player. But he's not going to take over Fred Warner or Dre Greenlaw. But in case of injury, I think Jalen Graham is better than Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles. But again, DFF, his buddy's Fred Warner. So for Jalen Graham, this is a great move for his career because he probably would have been wasting away on the bench. He's going to the Commanders. Adam Peters is the GM. He drafted him out of Purdue, late round pick. He's going to be a starter in Washington. So for Jalen Graham, congrats to him. You just got a starting job. You're going to be a really good player in the league now because you're not playing on the 49ers where you have to wait.
I don't know. Just get Aaron going, a certain rapper. Oh, you mean Travis King? He sucks. Sorry, 49er fans. I don't like him. And it has nothing to do with Raj. It's all me. I think he's corny. He tried to put up breaking news about Brandon Ayuk, and he's full of garbage. And I don't like people stepping out of their lane. You're not even a good singer. And now you're going to try to break news to the 49er fans that wasn't true.
Wow.
That's how they do it. Italian people do it. Like, F off.
Wow.
Sorry. I'm a hater, okay? I'm a hater. And this, like I said, this is all me. Nobody else I'm not putting this voodoo on anybody else. This is a part of the new Aaron. Aaron doesn't care anymore because he's not monetized. So he just comes on here for the hell of it and hangs out with all his friends. That's really what I do it for. I don't care anymore. Like, seriously. I don't got any sponsors. Nobody's coming to watch me. I'm still worried about our depth at edge rusher, man. Like, I know we brought back that Gavin guy that we got from the Packers.
Yeah, we added
some
him.
Guy, I don't know who he is.
Yeah, they added what's his name? Off the top of my head, I can think about him. Hold on, let me pull up his name. They added him. He was on the roster during the training camp and everything. I just had forgot about him. His name is Jonathan Garvin. Yeah, so he's on the practice squad. Decent, but I mean, I still think they need more edge rush depth because Robert Beal, Yetur Gross-Matos. I like Gross-Matos, but I just don't think he's a pure pass rusher.
No, and him and God, why does your name always escape me? Defensive end. We got from the Bills, and he used to be a Ram.
Leonard Floyd.
I'm sorry. I have like weird memory issues when it comes to certain people's names. Some people I can never forget. And then there's people that I literally say their name every day on stream with different people, and I completely forget them. Those are the only two guys that we have really backing up Bosa. And I don't want to overuse Bosa, man. I feel like Bosa is good when he can get some breathers, man. We're really top heavy on the defensive end position this year. I feel it's like one injury away from being catastrophic. And we saw in the preseason, the guys just trip over guys take a weird angle and bang knees or whatever. And then all of a sudden you have no pass rush. So I know that Yannick Ngakoue is out there. I feel like he should be affordable. He didn't do anything last year. It's not like he's coming off of like a killer year and he's not doing the Jadeveon Clowney thing where he does just good enough to make money every year.
Yeah.
And then comes in and does nothing and sucks and is hurt all the time. He didn't do anything last year, so bring him in. Bring two guys in.
Chris Kasurik would fix this. If Chris Kasurik will get him paid. That's what we do. We rev him up, get him back on track, and say, hey, we just fixed your career. Go make $10 million. We won't pay you next year. Somebody else will. But we just fixed your career. Go get him and put Chris Kasurik and Yannick Ngakwe. Get him in there. We need him.
Aaron got that dog in him. Now,
Got that
Aaron's just
dog
an
in
old
him.
man who doesn't care.
Got that dog in him.
He says, "Don't crash out." Oh, I know. I start flipping out, and all of a sudden, my internet drops. All right. So, some practice squad players that were added. I just going to name off a couple guys. We have Evan Anderson, defensive tackle Evan Anderson, Ben Barch, again Jonathan Gavin, Chase Lucas, Tay Martin, Ty McGill, Tanner Mordecai, Mason Pline, and Tracy Walker. Who out of that unbelievable group of talented players stands out? I personally think Tanner Mordecai is interesting because I think the Niners literally have 4 decent quarterbacks on their roster, which is amazing because some teams don't have one.
Yeah.
Any of those names stand out to you at all? I mean, they don't to me.
That's the best practice squad in the league, dude. Honestly, Mason Pline has talent. I think he's a raw tight end. I think that he could develop. Evan Anderson, they gave him $2 million guaranteed. I knew he'd make the practice squad at least. I like his talent. I think he'll eventually replace like Kevin Givens next year. He's got a position on this team in the future. Tanner Mordecai is going to be your future QB2. A lot of those guys will be on this team next year on the actual roster. I'm pretty sure when they get rid of some of they got 36 free agents this year, Aaron. You know that? They're not bringing all these players back. So some of those guys on the practice squad next year, get used to them. You might want to know who those guys are. You might want to know Mason Pline. You might want to know Evan Anderson because they're going to be on the roster.
Aaron's got to stop being a homer and only liking the players that he can remember.
Aaron's cat got that cat in him. They said
she's got that cat in her, man. She's a bitch cat. She's very bitchy.
I got a cat too. I got a cat. This cat is old. This cat is actually in cat years is 80 years old. She's 16 years old. She's 80 years old.
She's 15. She's 15. I got her when I was with that crazy, gigantic woman that I used to date many years ago.
Yeah, this cat is dog.
She was like, "I beat you up, so I keep. I let you have other cat when I leave." That's so I got her cat.
You got the other cat. Probably the better cat.
The other cat never. Well, I could go places. I'm gonna be a good boy here because if I had alcohol in me, this thing would go off the rails. Yeah. Oh my Lord. Real quick, Niners are investing $200 million in Levi's Stadium to apparently do something with the jumbotrons and get better Wi-Fi because they have the World Cup, I think, in 2026. Is that correct?
World Cup and the Super Bowl. I posted about this and so they're upgrading the visuals and everything, trying to make it a little bit more state of the art, which is nice because you want that kind of stuff to attract the fans when they're going to have, those events coming up. I think also WrestleMania is going to be there eventually in the next couple of years too. That's the rumor. So got a lot of big events. I know a lot of people say bring the shade, get a roof. They can't. They can't because they're right by the airport.
They're in a flight line. Yeah, they can't put a roof on that place. You kidding me?
They can't. It's unfortunate. I wish they could because it is sometimes hot beginning of the season. But
yeah,
I also heard people saying like, "Oh, how come they didn't use that money for Brandon Ayuk and this and that?" That's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Ayuk, his money, Trent Williams' money is not dependent on the stadium money. It's a whole different entity. I think that's nice the 49ers are upgrading those things because guess what? That Wi-Fi in Levi Stadium is not good. It's a bad Wi-Fi. If you're trying to post content like me, you need better Wi-Fi. So I'm glad they you know what? Actually, that might have been my complaint because
take away the rooftop garden that nobody cares about and just put some better Wi-Fi in there.
That's it. That's good because listen, I honestly every time I go to the game, they always send me an email and they say, "What are your thoughts on your experience?" And every single time I respond, and I go to a lot of games there, and I
your
say
garlic
the
fries are undercooked.
Is terrible. I say the food's pretty good. I say the Wi-Fi is atrocious. You guys are in Silicon Valley. You guys are in California, the heart of tech. He got bad Wi-Fi. They might have listened to me.
They looked at him and he said, "YouTube, Instagram influencer."
I use my influence. You know what? I think I still am. I didn't see it this year because I didn't do my last I didn't fill out my last intake form for them because I just forgot at the preseason game I went to. But they used to have like on the tab, like, where do you get your 49ers news? Like, and they'll list like the reporters like Cam Inman, 49ers social media, and they'll put RSF 49ers and a couple other people. So they know. And I put, I'm RSF 49ers. I'm on your damn catalog on your thing, listen to me. So yeah, I like it. I like it. I like that they're putting new Wi-Fi because I wanted it.
49er Minda says you're an underrated comedian. I thought you guys were talking about me making you laugh. Jeez. Do I even exist when I'm on camera with Raj?
Yeah, you do. You do.
I'm just kidding. Any other news going on with you, homie? Anything you got to report? Anything dropping on the Twitterverse right now?
We got a couple. No, I thought there was something out you talk, but no,
you
we
had
got
me
a couple.
excited. You're like, you might have some Brandon
I
Ayuk
know. I
news.
saw something, and it was like, I don't know. I was just
Brandon Ayuk's going to wear red sneakers next week. Oh,
he
okay.
might. He might. No, got a couple of sponsors coming up. Bet USA. We're going to partner with them. We got some stuff. Stay tuned for that. I will be doing a giveaway with Autograph.io. I partnered with them. I haven't announced it on Instagram yet, but we are partnering with them, and we're going to be doing a giveaway for tickets to the 49ers Jets opener. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Got a lot of sponsors this year, Aaron. So I'm excited. Those are 2 new ones. Next week, the first RSF 49ers show at the Plex. I'm hyped up, bro. It's going to be good stuff. Good season.
Last thing I'll ask you, and then we'll go. With all the stuff that's been going on, all the contract and Trent Williams and just all the bad juju, could the 49ers lose week 1? Are the Niners prepping themselves for a slow start? Because I'll be honest with you, I was not trying to over dramatize anything. I watched Twitter and I watch people kind of lose their mind over stuff, and I've been kind of even keel, but the last, like today, really kind of switched me over into a different headspace. Because if John Lynch is getting pissed at the situation, that means it's affecting people in the building. So I don't know.
Yeah. To answer your question, Aaron, I think there's a possibility we lose. I don't want to say we're going to lose week 1, but I think there is a possibility we lose week. There's a possibility you can lose every game. You know what I mean? But week 1, if they don't have Trent Williams, it's not going to be an easy game to win. And I think, the Chiefs did this last year. Their first game of the season, they lost. They didn't have Chris Jones. Immediately the next day, they were like, what do you want? Blank check. We're sorry. We screwed up. 49ers, if they don't sign Trent Williams and they lose the next day, they're going to give Trent Williams whatever he wants.
Remember the 1993 season, I think it was, when the Bills, or when the Niners, or the Cowboys were trying to go back to back on the Bills. That second Super Bowl, the one that they did end up winning. That's his season that they first 2 games of the year they didn't have Emmitt Smith. He wasn't signed. They lost both games.
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith gets his money. That he comes back. They win the Super Bowl again, of course.
I'm telling you, if the 49ers don't have Ayuk and Trent Williams figured out week 1, they'll probably lose, and then they'll figure out like, okay, we got to just get this shit done.
Yeah, you could blow smoke up a lot of fans' asses saying, it doesn't matter, whoever, but next man up. If that was the case, then you should. Why are we still having contract negotiations if it's about next man up? Players do matter. So
Jalen Moore is not worthy of.
Yeah, Colton McKivitz is not good. He sucks.
Well, the problem is they don't have a better right tackle. So it's Jalen. You don't want to have Jalen and Colton. At least you have Trent Williams and Colton. That's the way I look at it.
Makes him taste less crappy. So
yeah,
everybody. Thanks for putting it up with all our technical difficulties.
Yeah,
we'll be back next week previewing the game. Hopefully, I'm starting to think Wednesday might be a good day for us, as long as you're not on with Larry.
Better, yeah. Wednesday's better because Tuesdays I got Larry, and then I might be doing another show on my Instagram on Tuesday. So.
Okay. As far as my show this year, it doesn't look like that me and Ted will be doing something. At least
Ted got a job.
Yeah, Ted's got a job. I mean, it's not like he's a bum or anything. He's just he got some employment during the day that's going to keep him from streaming. So right now it's just me and Bash on Mondays, me and Raj probably on Wednesdays, and then me and my buddy James from Rochester, who lives in the same Niner fan from the West Coast that came to the East Coast, on Fridays. So might be looking for another co-host. We'll see. Maybe I'll just keep it the way it is. But everybody take care. We will see you guys next week, previewing week 1, Monday night against the Jets. Can't wait. Hopefully we got our guys back and all this silliness is over. Take care, everyone. See you.
Don't hold your breath.